Abby Cooper and Lewis Cooper here, coming at you from our office. Today, this video is going to be a little different because this one is going to be specifically geared to writers. That's my writer dance. I don't know. It's happening. Let's just go with it. Someone super awesome commented on one of my videos, and I think it was my school visit video, and he was like, hey, how do you actually get these school visits? Can you do a video on that? And guess what, my friend who commented on that video? Yes, I can. I'm doing it right now. My wedding dancing this summer, by the way, it's going to be so good. Just get ready, get ready, get ready. Okay, so anyway, in this video, I'm going to share 3 techniques writers can use for getting school and Skype visits. Because it can be kind of a tricky thing, and it can be kind of frustrating. There were a few years when I first started out where I had all the info on my website, you know. I was like, here's all this info, guys, like Skype visits, school visits. I'm ready. Let's do this. But I got very few responses. Not many. Not many at all. Dun, dun, dun. But I've kind of figured out some ways to get people to actually notice that information and use that information and invite you in to meet their students and to have an amazing time. So I'm going to share those things with you now. Okay, technique number 1, networking. Okay, now here's the thing. If you're anything like me and you're a writer, there's also a good chance you're very introverty, which means that you would pretty much rather sit at home by yourself with a book or just with silence than go to a place and people. Yes, I'm using people as a verb, but you probably know what I mean. However, I've discovered there are ways to mix your introvertiness, if you have it, with activities. And those activities can lead to school and Skype visits. Hear me out. Chances are, if you're a writer, you also like to read and support other writers. So here's what you do. Go to book events. Okay, but here's what I mean specifically and how this works. So, I like to read a lot and I like to support other writers. And luckily I live in an area with a lot of awesome independent bookstores that are always having readings and signings and events. And so I go to those because, like I've already said, I like supporting other authors and they're fun. But also they're fun for me and they don't feel like work. You know how when you're introverting, a lot of socialing feels like work? This doesn't really feel like work because I'm with my people. I'm with book people. They get me. They appreciate books and all is right with the world. So those types of events don't feel like work to me. And you also don't really have to people too much because really you're just kind of sitting there listening to someone share about their book, which is awesome. But anyway, oftentimes at those types of events, you will see there are lots of educators present, teachers, librarians, etc. And making a connection with somebody can be really natural at these types of things. If you're not sure how to start a conversation, you literally discuss the event that you're at. Oh, this book looks so cool. Oh, that author was awesome. Have you read it? What else are you reading? And a conversation can start really naturally. I've made some of my best connections standing in line to get a book signed. True story. And I think there's really something special about a personal connection. Networking in general can feel really overwhelming, but when you do it sort of on your terms, in settings where you're comfortable, and you're kind of at your most confident, sort of, it can really make a big difference. So spoiler alert, person I talked to in line, waiting to get a book signed, she kind of saw me, how I talk, and whatever, and she's like, oh, you're pretty enthusiastic. Do you do school visits? Yeah, I do. And there you go. Boom. Tip number 2, be proactive. Okay, so this is a thing I have learned gradually. Like I said before, I had all this info on my website and I was like, why is nobody using it? Well, that's because most people are not just like randomly perusing your website. I'm sorry. They're just not. It's nothing against you or your website. I'm sure it's beautiful. But like, even just thinking about myself, like there's tons of authors I love and I'd love to know more about and stuff, but I don't really go to their websites and like read about them and stuff. I would like to, but you know, I gotta read books, I gotta write books. There's just not enough time in the day. Anyway, so what I mean specifically by being proactive is this. I get a lot of emails, tweets, Facebook posts, carrier pigeons. No, just kidding. That'd be so cool though. Like, can somebody send me a pigeon or an owl? I would love to get an owl. Anyway, so I get a lot of messages where people are like, I loved your book. Or even like, I read your book. Anything, that's okay. You don't have to love it. We can still work together. But any messages like those, and you probably get those too if you're a writer, because your books rule. But think about how you respond to those, okay? Because for a while, I would just respond, thank you, you know, thanks, smiley face, yay, cool, etc. But I've discovered responding to messages like this can be really, really helpful for getting school and Skype visits. What? So now when I respond to things, I kind of mention, like somebody says, oh, a few of my students read one of your books. They really liked it. I will respond, thank you. Also, just so you know, I am happy to Skype with readers. I love connecting with them. And like 90% of the time, what happens is that those educators respond, oh my gosh, you do? That's amazing. Okay, how do we set it up? Seriously. Yeah. And that probably would not have happened if I had just been like, thanks. So, yeah, I feel like sometimes it's kind of, it feels awkward to like say like, here's a thing I do. Do you want me? Do you want to do it? Because you don't want to feel like pushy or whatever. Honestly, you just gotta get over it and like mention it. The worst that's gonna happen is they just don't respond, or they respond and they're like, cool, thanks. Okay, you haven't lost anything. Because like I said, people are not just randomly perusing your website, most likely. They will, but you have to show that information to them. You have to be like, here's what I offer. Here's more information. And then they will check it out once they are hooked and intrigued and excited. Tip number 3, remind people / follow up. So I used to be a teacher, and holy guacamole are their days bananas, okay? Like, they can barely go to the bathroom, let alone check out their calendar and their school's calendar, respond to your email. Like, it's hard. When that happens, like, confetti should explode because they are doing an amazing thing. With that in mind, sometimes things just fall through the cracks because they are so busy, not because they are ignoring you. And as an author, what you can do to help is just send a follow-up email or tweet or whatever. I have many, many emails in my inbox where people have expressed interest. I would love to Skype. Let's do it. Woo! And I write back and I'm like, cool, when works for you? And then nothing. And they are not ignoring me, I hope. I'm pretty sure they're not. I'm pretty sure they're just like bananas busy because such is being a teacher. So I try to sort of keep track of folks who've expressed interest and then disappeared. And then I'll just send a quick like, hey, just looking at my calendar, planning out my spring. Saw you were interested in Skype. Are you still interested? If so, let me know and we can go from there. Just short, simple. And a lot of the times they will write back and say, oh my gosh, yes, I'm still interested, but you know, testing, assemblies, report cards, oh my. Teachers deserve like medals and all the money and all the love, but that's another story. Anyway, so So sometimes it just takes a little nudge. Now don't go nudge crazy though, because our time is valuable too. So you don't want to like take a bunch of your time sending follow-up after follow-up after follow-up. Just one usually does the trick. I wouldn't do any more than that, but that's a personal decision, I guess. And on that same note, the world can be reminded, and you can follow up with the universe. Whoa, that was deep, I think. Maybe not. What I mean by that is that I will periodically post on my social media accounts and be like, hey world, just throwing it out there. Maybe you're not aware, but in case that's what's happening, you are aware now. I do school visits and Skype visits, and you can book them right now. And what that does is just kind of bring attention to what you offer. It's important also to remember that just like kids have different learning styles, so do grown-ups. And so sometimes you don't want to say the same thing over and over the same way. So when I put out something to the world, I will use different techniques. Sometimes I'll make an image, I'll make a graphic, like available for Skypes, to appeal to the more visual learners out there. Sometimes I will have like a dancing GIF. Did anybody ever decide how to say that? But you know what I mean. Because like movement learners and fun learners. But I'll just kind of, I'll give the information in different ways. Because sometimes, you know, even for readers, even big readers, sometimes we'll just see a bunch of words and say, nah, no thanks. I get it. I don't always feel like reading a million things. So just kind of being consistent and putting the information out on different platforms and in different ways can really make a big difference. Okay, my friends, I hope this was helpful. Quick recap. The 3 ways I have found most helpful to get school and Skype visits. Number 1, network. Go to things that you want to go to, but ideally those are things that educators also want to go to, and then stand in lines and befriend them. Tip number 2, be proactive. Don't just respond to compliments about you or your books with a simple thanks. Make it a thanks and. You'll be amazed, seriously. And tip number 3, remind people / follow up. Don't let interest just disappear. Share the information in new, different, and frequent, but not too frequent ways. Okay? Fellow writers, what did I miss? What other techniques have you used to successfully get school and or Skype visits? Will you share down below in the comments, please? And feel free to give this video a thumbs up, if only for my brilliant dance moves at the beginning. And feel free to comment if there's any other videos you would like to see. And I will see you next time.